The wind don't speak, it just devours the bones of men, the rusted towers. It hums through towns where no one prays and buries truth beneath the haze. I rode that trail through blood and dust, through broken dreams and dying trust. The crow flew low, the sky was red, and the wind whispered the dead. The wind carries no mercy, son. It don't forgive what's done. It knows your voice, it knows your breath. It sings your name in death. You can't outrun, you can't become. The wind carries no mercy, son. I left my home for open land, a gun, a horse, a broken hand. The stars looked down, but none would guide. They only watched me ride. The preacher's words were worn and thin. He said the wind will call you in. But I kept riding through the pain, through thunder, smoke, and rain. The wind carries no mercy, son. It don't bow for anyone. It steals your love, it steals your kin. It howls for what has been. Your heart may beat, your blood may run, but the wind shows mercy to none. I've seen it take the proud in me. I've heard it howl through every creek. It don't judge the weak or strong. It just hums where men belong. The graves out west are cold and deep, where nameless riders come to sleep. Their spurs still gleam beneath the clay. Their ghosts still find their way. The fire burns, the whiskey fades. The past becomes what time replays. And through it all, the same refrain. The wind still speaks my name. The wind carries no mercy, son. Its work is never done. It howls through bones, through every prayer, through dust and empty air. No saint to trust, no cross begun. The wind carries no mercy, son. Now I stand where the canyon weeps, where death still sings and silence sleeps. My horse is gone, my gun's grown cold. My story's nearly told. But if you hear that lonesome cry, don't ask who, don't ask why. It's just the sound of what's undone. The wind carries no mercy, son. The wind carries no mercy, son. It don't forget what's done. Through every grave, through every run, it whispers to no one. No dawn to come, no setting sun. The wind carries no mercy, son. through fire, I rode through storm, through every place I called my own. The dust was deep, the night was wide, and every ghost rode by my side. My hands grew cold, my voice turned thin, my sins wore holes beneath my skin, and every mile through flesh and bone said the dust will take you home, until the dust takes me home. I'll ride this road alone, through thunder's cry, through death's dark roam, until the dust takes me home. No church, no light, no sacred poem, just dust to guide me home. Like glass, said, son, a rider someday pass. The road don't bend, the truth don't hide, but dust remembers every ride. He tipped his hat and turned to flame, as if he never bore a name. And where he stood, the earth did groan. Let the dust now take him home, until the dust takes me home. No rider stands, no king, no throne. Your blood may pour, your soul may moan, but dust still claims its own. In every wind, in every stone, the dust leads riders home. The west don't promise, the sky don't lie, and every truth will someday die. But dust keeps names men can't atone, and carries all of us home. The crow above began to scream, as if to tear apart my dream. The sun bled low across the sand, a dying fire in God's own hand. My horse breathed smoke, my heart lost pace. I saw my shadow lose its face, and in that red and broken dawn, I felt the dust call, come home, until the dust takes me home. Through empty fields where I have roamed, through graves unnamed, through flesh and bone, the dust still calls me home. No prayer to chant, no debt to own, just dust to take me home. Now twilight falls like dying breath. The wind speaks softly, there's no death, just fading footsteps in the gloam, till dust brings wanderers home. My story is long, my sins are deep, gives what gods don't keep. And when I fall, don't carve no stone. The dust will mark my home until the dust takes me home. I'll ride till flesh is gone from bone, through fire's hiss and heaven's drone, until the dust takes me home. And when I fade into the lone, the dust will bring me home. Out past the line where the fire died down, past the sins of every town, there's a place where riders go when the earth won't hold them below. The spurs still ring, their shadows roam across the dust they call their home. No dawn can break, no preacher chide where the dead still ride, where the dead keep riding on. Long after flesh and bone are gone, through winds that howl and stars that hide, the dead still ride. No grave to bind, no soul denied, where the dead keep riding on. I heard their songs in the canyon's throat, a trembling hymn that spirits wrote. Their voices cracked like burning wood, a sound no living ever could. I felt them brush against my soul, a cold that made the warm grow cold. And when I tried to step aside, they pulled me to the right, where the dead keep riding on. Through nights that stretch 1,000 dawns, the dust remembers every stride. The dead still ride through thunder's roar, through time's divide. The dead keep riding on. You can't escape what's carved in fate, no lock to pick, no iron gate. And once you cross that shadow tide, you'll join the dead that ride. The moon hung low like a dying eye, watching every soul that passed by. My horse grew still, my breath grew slim, as the world around me turned to dim. I saw a rider formed of ash, with bones that glowed from every lash. He tipped his hat with hollow pride and whispered, "Join the ride, where the dead keep riding on." Where night outlives the sun, where broken spirits coincide. The dead still ride beyond the reach of flesh and brawn. The dead keep riding on. Now I can feel their weight ahead, calling me from all I've said. And though I breathe, I know inside my soul has nearly died. So if I fall along this land, don't take my gun, don't touch my hand. Just leave me where the shadows bite, where the dead still ride, where the dead keep riding on. Through dust till every star is gone. Through time and dust they can't divide. The dead still ride, and when I fade, let it be known I ride with them beyond the stone. Long, the night was cold, and every mile felt twice as old. I carried ghosts in leather reins, and all their whispers filled my veins. My boots were torn, my hands were scarred, my heart of stone, the world made hard. And when I stopped to understand, I turned to ashes, man. The ashes of the wandering man, blown across this dying land. Through broken towns and shifting sand, the wind still knows my name. No home to find, no place to stand, just ashes of the wandering man. I met a girl near Hanging Rock. Her eyes were storms that couldn't talk. She said, your soul is wearing thin, you carry too much sin. She touched my face, I felt the truth, a fading man with dying youth. But when she turned to take my hand, I slipped like drifting sand. Ashes of the wandering man, lost beyond all mortal plans. My shadow fades, my story spans across the ghostly plain. No God to curse, no devil damn, just ashes of the wandering man. The dust don't judge, it just survives. It takes the dead, it takes the lives, and every
Every man who breaks or stands becomes its drifting strands.
The fire burned low beneath the pine. I saw my past in every line. The face is gone, the dreams undone. The crows that block the sun. My horse lay down, too tired to rise. The desert mirrored in its eyes, and in that glow I felt the sand take hold of who I am. Ashes of the wandering man, falling where my boots began. The rusted nights and winds unplanned. The truth still feels the same. No part to play, no final stand. Just ashes of the wandering man. Now twilight bleeds across the ridge, and shadows cross the canyon's bridge. My voice grows thin, my breath grows weak. The dust begins to speak. If someone finds my scattered bones, don't carve no stories, write no stones. The wind will tell what none else can, the tale of a wandering man. Ashes of the wandering man, blown through time's forgotten span. No heaven's light, no hell's command, just dust that holds my name. And when I fade from mortal land, I'll be ashes of the wandering man. The sky was bleeding amber red. The sun hung low, almost dead. I felt the pull beneath my feet, a cold that tasted bittersweet. I'd walk the road of dust and bone with sins too heavy to atone, and every mile through pain and woe said, bury me where the sun burns low. Bury me where the sun burns low, where the desert winds still blow, where the graves lean quiet in a row, and no man needs to know. Lay me down where the shadows grow. Bury me where the sun burns low. dressed in black. His face was calm, his eyes held slack. He said the West don't promise peace, it only grants a last release. He pointed where the ridgeline breaks, where sand remembers all it takes, and in his voice a solemn glow. Bury me where the sun burns low. Bury me where the sun burns low, where the starless evening slow, where the wind won't ask the debts I owe, nor question where I go. No preacher's words, no bells to toll. Bury me where the sun burns low. The West told stories time can't keep, of men who rode but couldn't sleep, and in the dust where old winds blow, their final embers glow. The moon came rising pale and high, a ghostly lantern in the sky. My horse stood still, its breathing slow, as if it too knew where I'd go. The crow above began to wail its call of him, both sharp and frail. I tipped my hat, prepared to go where all men end below. Bury me where the sun burns low, where no one comes, where no lights glow, where the coyotes sing their mournful show to those they'll never know. Let the dust decide my final home. Bury me where the sun burns low. I've wasted years in blood and flame, with worn out boots that lost their name, but now I feel the ending near, a quiet that dissolves all fear. So mark the place with nothing grand, no carved words or borrowed land. Just let me fade where lone winds blow, where the sun burns low. Bury me where the sun burns low, where the crimson heavens glow, where the dead watch riders come and go through time's unending flow. And when I fall, don't weep or show, just bury me where the sun burns low. He rode through nights that never broke, through dust so thick it choked the oak. The moon was thin, the stars were gone, and still he staggered on. His coat was torn, his breath was steel, his wounds were ones no man could heal. But through it all he whispered on, I'll ride until the dawn. But the rider never found dawn, no matter how far he rode on. Through fire, through ash, through blood withdrawn, he never touched the dawn. The light was always there, then gone. found on. He tasted hope in dying towns where windows wept and walls fell down. He'd seen a girl with raven hair who asked if he'd stay there, but he just shook his weary head. I've got a dream not born of bread. I'll chase the horizon till it's drawn. I'll find the edge of dawn. But the rider never found on. It faded each time he rode on. The night would lift and light was gone, and still he spurred along. The wind would whisper soft and warm. The rider won't find home. Some men chase gold, some chase love, some chase the silent skies above, but some chase ghosts they can't outrun and ride till life is done. He rode past graves with nameless stones where dust had swallowed flesh and bones. He tipped his hat to everyone, oh brothers of the sun. His horse grew thin, its eyes grew wide, still carrying him through endless night. They moved as one man, beast and form, chasing a dying dawn. But the rider never found home. His shadow stretched too far along. The more he sought, the more it drawn. The dream kept dragging on, and heaven whispered, tired and drawn. He'll never find the dawn. Now twilight folds into his bones, his name forgotten among stones. But some nights when the west burns red, you'll hear his ghost instead. A fading hoofbeat in the dust, a memory of a wanderer's trust, a silhouette forever gone, still searching for the dawn. But the rider never found on, no cross to mark where he moved on. Through winds that cry and fields long gone, he rides forever on. A soul that time could not respond. The rider who never found on. The night was young, but I was old. My bones were fire, my heart was cold. The desert stretched in endless heat, the last road beneath my feet. I felt the ghosts of men I knew, their shadows long, their voices few. They whispered low in dusty sheet, walk the last road neath your feet. The last road beneath my feet, where the dead and living meet, where the sky bleeds red and sweet, and dust becomes my seat. No truth to keep, no light to greet, just the last road beneath my feet. I met a stranger by the ridge, his eyes were storms, his breath a bridge. He said, there's things you can't defeat on the last road beneath your feet. He showed me scars from ancient wars, from lives he'd lived 1,000 shores. He tipped his hat and took his seat, disappearing in the heat. The last road beneath my feet, long and lonesome, stark and bleak. No water's taste, no bread to eat, just whispers in the heat, and every step repeats, repeats on the last road beneath my feet. A man can run from blood and shame, from love he lost, from death he claims, but he can't change what dust repeats, the last road beneath his feet. I saw the moon in broken light, its face was pale, its voice was night. It cast a glow on dead men's seats, where their shadows rose like sheets. My horse grew tired, my breath grew small, the world around began to fall, and far ahead in dying heat I saw myself retreat. The last road beneath my feet, where every heartbeat beats retreat, where time forgets and sins repeat, and life admits defeat. My name blows soft through dead grass sweet, on the last road beneath my feet. Now dawn is gone and dusk is mine, the wind becomes my only sign. It hums a tired, fading beat across the last road's dusty sheet. So if you find my hat or bones, don't mark the place with heavy stones. Just let me drift, let me retreat into the dust I meet. The last road beneath my feet, where beginning and ending can meet, where shadows rise, where ghosts compete, where silence sounds complete, and when I fade, calm and discreet, I'll rest beneath the last road beneath my feet. deep, a place where secrets love to keep. I rode inside with broken flame to see what swallowed my name. The sun behind me slowly bled, the shadows reached ahead like thread. My horse grew still, its breath became a ghost that whispered shame. When the canyon swallowed my name, it left no echo, left no claim, just dust and bone and hollow flame, where nothing stays the same. A man becomes what none can frame, when the canyon swallows his name. I saw the marks of men before, scratched in the stone beside the floor. Names half erased, carved thin and tight, stolen by endless night. A voice behind me, low and warm, spoke like a heart too long torn. It said, you're closer than you came to losing more than name. When the canyon swallowed my name, I felt my pulse become a flame, a memory lost, a truth too lame, a life too wild, too tame. That place don't care for pride or fame. The canyon takes your name. Some roads break you, some roads bend, some roads follow to the end. But this one takes what you became and leaves no trace of name. I laid my hand against the wall. It felt like touching time's last call. The stone was warm as if it kept the breaths of men who slept. A crow flew by with a single cry, its wings like shadows in the sky. It circled once, then left in blame. It knew I'd lost my name. When the canyon swallowed my name, it stripped my lies, it stripped my shame. No man returns from where I came, not holy, not the same. I walked in proud, but left so tame. When the canyon claimed my name. Along the rim, the canyon hums a solemn hymn. My voice is small, my pulse is thin, I feel the dark begin. So let the dust reclaim my breath, let silence take my weary death. For even death seems mild and tame next to losing name. Swallowed my name, I understood why men grow lame. It takes your soul, your fear, your frame, and burns away your flame. I came as man, but none remain. For the canyon took my name. west where the land grows old, where the wind turns warm and the nights grow cold. The sky hung low like a dying breath, and every shadow whispered death. The crosses rose like crooked teeth, a graveyard stretching far beneath, and then there rose in dust and rock lay the names the world forgot. Under the crosses of the forgotten, where memories fall and time grows rotten, I felt my sins all cold and swollen, cling to my weary bones, no truth to speak, no prayers begotten. Under the crosses of the forgotten. I found a marker split in two, the name erased, the dates askew. A crow sat perched upon the beam, its call cut through my dream. It looked at me with knowing eyes, as if it watched a man's demise, and on the ground in dust begotten, I joined the long forgotten. Under the crosses of the forgotten, where hearts once strong grew bruised and softened, the wind repeats the tales once spoken by men with shattered souls, their stories lost, their vows all broken. Under the crosses of the forgotten. Some men die with names held tight, some fade slow into the night, but those who sinned and lost their way lie here where no one prays. A stranger stepped from behind a mound, his boots made barely any sound. He said, I've waited here for you. The dead don't lie, but they speak true. His coat was torn, his hat hung low, his voice a whisper soft as snow. Every cross you're standing near belonged to someone once held dear. Under the crosses of the forgotten, where dreams decay and flesh grows cotton, he told me tales of sins long rotten, of men who lost their flame, their souls were dry as leaves of autumn. Under the crosses of the forgotten. High in ghostly haze and lit the graves in silver blaze. I felt my breath grow short and thin, as if these bones were closing in. I dropped my reins, I touched the ground, and heard my heartbeat slow its sound. The stranger pointed cold and stern. Someday it'll be your turn. Under the crosses of the forgotten, where all we were becomes downtrodden, the past returns in whispers sodden, with tears the dust won't claim. And when my voice is finally cotton, lay me under the crosses of the forgotten. took his voice one night, where stars were dim and moon was white. He walked alone through dust and bone, a stranger carved from stone. His words had once been sharp as steel, enough to cut, enough to heal. But now his breath was faint and weak, no sound left to speak. For the desert took his voice away, left him with nothing left to say. His story's buried in the clay, where nameless shadows stay, a man unmade in sun's decay. The desert took his voice away. I met him near a fallen tree, a place where ghosts roam wild and free. He tipped his hat but made no sound, as if his soul was bound. His eyes were dark but soft with truth, the kind that only grows with youth. And in their depths I saw the sway of things he couldn't say. For the desert took his voice away, fed it to the winds that play across the graves of yesterday, where echoes roam and pray, a man reduced to dust and gray. The desert took his voice away. We speak until the words grow thin, but silence sees where we've been. In the dust, in disarray, the desert takes our voice away. He led me to a ridge of red, where countless men had come and bled. Their whispers danced in hollow cries, a choir of empty skies. He pointed toward a sunken trail, where someone's prayer became their jail. And though he tried, he couldn't say why he'd been led astray. For the desert took his voice away, and bounded where the shadows lay, where bones of men in dust decay, forgotten in the fray. The world moved on as worlds will sway, while his voice drifted away. Now twilight burns along the crest, and every ghost has come to rest. He stands alone in fading light, the silent man of night. And when the wind begins to moan, it carries fragments of his tone, but no one knows what they convey. The desert stole his say. For the desert took his voice away, left nothing but his shape of clay, a phantom lost in sunset sway, with dawn too cold to stay. And when he falls, no man will pray. For the desert took his voice away. my saddle. Old ghosts that never learned to rest. Their names were faint, their sins unrattled, but still they whispered in my chest. The desert stretched in cracked devotion, a dying sea of dust and fear, and every turn like shifting ocean brought their cold voices near. The bones beneath the saddle creak. They know the strong, they know the weak. They hum the truths I dare not speak through every mile of pain. They carried me for many weeks, the bones of men I can't explain. I felt their weight in every motion, the way my horse would slump and strain, a burden forged from strange devotion, a quiet choir of shame. One bone belonged to my old brother, who died for gold he couldn't save. Another held a nameless mother, lost searching for a grave. The bones beneath the saddle creak, a song both hollow, sharp, and bleak. The dead still rise when nights grow weak and whisper through the rain. Their stories like a river's lead run red across my brain. A man may ride with flesh and pride, but ghosts decide which roads collide. And when the past begins to rattle, the bones beneath the saddle speak. I met an elder dressed in shadows. His hat pulled low, his pace was slow. He said, son, every man must follow what buried bones still know. He showed me scars in desert shale where countless riders lost their way. He said, these bones you keep will fail to let you see the day. The bones beneath the saddle creak. They judge the strong, devour the weak. They haunt the prayers that die and seek and echo through my shame. No man escapes the grip antique of bone without a name. Now twilight settles on my shoulders. The sky is red with weary dust. My horse grows thin, the nights grow colder, and time erodes my trust. One by one the bones fall silent, their whispers fade into the land. A lullaby both soft and violent that no one understands. So if you find my saddle lying underneath a dying tree, know the bones that kept me riding have finally ridden me. The bones beneath the saddle creak, a restless restless hymn of lost in me, through canyon walls, through mountain peak. Their voices ebb and wane, and when I fall, cold, gray, and weak, the bones will rise again.